So I want to respond to a couple of comments like these to give some context for what's going on. So the great powers that helped Greece earn its independence were Russia, France, and Britain. And the common theme throughout modern history, including now, is that Britain, and now America, their foreign policy is carved around antagonism with Russia. So in the aftermath of Greek independence, Britain and France feared Russian expansion into the Eastern Mediterranean through Greece. So Kapodistrias was seen as pro-Russian because he had served as Russian foreign minister and he was pro-Russian. So it was in France and Britain's best interest to keep Greece weaker and more decentralized because that means it'd be less likely to become a Russian client state. And if this sounds crazy to you, look no further than what happened to Yugoslavia and the Balkans. So generally, Western MO is to sow discord, to fragment power blocks and keep them from turning into a stronger power for a number of reasons, one of which is to keep them out of Russia's sphere of influence. But anyway, back to Kapodistrias. So some contemporaries and later historians suspected British support for regional leaders opposed to Kapodistrias, which were in Mani especially. And Britain had strong connections with the Mavromichalis family and Petrobe. And between 1815 and 1864, let's remember that the British controlled the Ionian Islands. So they had their hands and authority in that broader region. And what were the original party lines? Well, French and British diplomats were critical of Kapodistrias. Their agents encouraged opposition to his centralized rule. As we said before, a strong centralized Greece was not in British and French favor. But I need to stipulate that as of yet, there's no hard evidence of any direct role in planning the assassination of Kapodistrias. But Kapodistrias' death and assassination justified foreign intervention and led to the establishment of a monarchy under the Bavarian king Otto. But you could ask, well, why Bavarian and not a French or a British royal? Everything is formally agreed upon, of course. And if Britain or France or Russia had placed one of their own royal family members on the Greek throne, the other two powers would have viewed it as a threat to the balance of power. And let's not forget that Greece was seen as a strategic buffer state between the Ottoman Empire and the West and Western Europe. So a monarch from one of the big three powers, France, Britain, Russia, would make Greece a proxy state, which the other two powers could not tolerate. So the Bavarian Otto was chosen precisely because he was neutral, neither a British nor a French nor a Russian prince. And the British and French viewed Otto as more favorable to British and French interests than a Russian-aligned republic under Kapodistrias. So while there is no definitive proof that the British orchestrated and ordered the assassination of Kapodistrias, looking at the bigger picture, talking Britain's strategic interests, the timing of the murder, their known opposition to Kapodistrias' Russian leanings, and the ties between British agents and local Greek elites like the Mavromichalis clan, well, it's reasonable to believe that the British may have had indirect role, or at the very least, they didn't try to stop the Maniatis or discourage them when they undoubtedly heard whispers of assassination plans. So that's the explanation of these comments that you're seeing in the video below.